What's going on there, YouTube? Welcome back to another comic book video. Okay, so we're going to continue our coverage over Identity Crisis. As you all know, we're trying to cover the entire event. So that means the main storyline and also some tie-ins as well. Now, today's video, we're going to cover the last two tie-ins for The Flash that takes place right after Tim Drake had lost his father to Captain Boomerang. Now remember, that was a huge moment in DC Comics, so we're kind of seeing that actual thing affecting other characters in different ways. Like, for example, the Batman. And you have the Batman being very upset with the Flash. But at the same time, for Wally West, he's also dealing with other things as well at the moment when it came to Identity Crisis. Because remember, when it came to the earlier parts of Identity Crisis, we had learned that a certain group of members of the Justice League decided to use the powers of Zatanna to play with the minds of different criminals across the world, like, for example, Dr. Light. Now, it was supposed to be a one-time thing, but then over time they realized that it's probably better off to go ahead and use those powers on different characters who could have huge effects on the hero's life in different kinds of ways. Now, with all that being said, for Wally West, he learned a very dark secret of Barry Allen, the previous Flash at this point in time. He learned that at first, Barry hated the idea of playing with the minds of different criminals across the world. But there was one character he had no choice. He had to alter the mind of that character. And that would be the Top. The Top was a very powerful psychic who also had a very high level of speed as well. And so when it came to Barry Allen, he realized that the Top is just too crazy and strong to leave alone. Matter of fact, when it came to the Top, he would constantly die over and over again, but also be able to place his mind in other people's bodies to just always come back and come after Barry Allen. But on top of that, he knew most of the secrets of Barry Allen. And so Barry realized that if Zatanna was able to use her powers on his mind, then maybe, just maybe, he would no longer be a criminal. Maybe he'll be a hero. And so at first, for Barry Allen, he had a new ally fighting alongside with him, the Top. But then after a while, the Top began to go insane again, but not in the way where he wanted to commit crimes. It was more of he realized that his past life, he was a criminal, killing off people and doing other horrible things. And so he could not handle the fact that he was an evil person when now he was good. And so he had disappeared. And so in Barry Allen's letter to Wally West, he's begging Wally to go out of his way to find the Top and cure the mind of the Top, to fix his mistake by playing on the mind of somebody else. So as we get into Flash issue number 216, we actually pick up with the Flash and also Zatanna being able to hunt down the Top. Now, when they do find him, well, unfortunately, he is still insane. But Barry Allen's letter said, hey, Wally, I need you to fix my mistake. And so for Wally, he said, hey, Zatanna, I need you to go ahead and turn his mind back to normal. Now, here comes the huge problem with that, because now it's the Top remembering what they had done to his mind, but also we begin to learn some more dark secrets of the Top when he was actually a good person. Now, like I said a moment ago, when it comes to the Top, he is a very powerful psychic. So powerful that apparently when he was an ally for Barry Allen, after having his mind altered, he began to give Barry Allen what he wanted. Barry wanted more allies by his side to fight against criminals. And so you had the Top use his abilities as a psychic to reprogram the minds of different members of the Rogues. So like Captain Boomerang, Heatwave, and the list goes on. Now, for Wally West, he does know that some members of the Rogues had actually tried to turn to actual good heroes, but some had failed as heroes and went back to their old ways. But some, they stayed as heroes as they had switched over. But it's now Top saying, like, listen, those people you believe to be good is because I had altered their minds. And really, I can go back right now and reprogram their minds back to normal. And when I do, they're going to realize their minds were altered. And think about it, Wally West. What's going to happen when they realize their minds have been played with? And so you have the top leave to leave Wally West wondering what could possibly happen down the road when it comes to the Rogues. And really, we jump over to some members of the Rogues who had actually reformed. And that will be characters like Heatwave, Magenta, or Pied Piper, and Jesse James. Now, these characters, they're working for the FBI. But the FBI is now saying, hey, listen, there's some rogues out there who are not heroes, and we need you guys to go after them. And so we're going to see possibly down the road, these rogues who are now heroes go after bad guys who are their friends who are still rogues. And with the whole idea of the rogues being reprogrammed and not actually being good heroes, you do have the Flash run over to Green Arrow to inform Green Arrow like, hey, Oliver, listen, I just got word that some of the rogues who are out there who are supposed heroes, they had their minds altered by the top when he was reprogrammed by Zatanna working alongside with the Flash because the Flash wanted more allies by his side. And so now it's Wally West and Oliver realizing that the rogues who are out there who are supposedly good, they can no longer trust them because in reality, they might go back their old ways once they find out their minds were actually altered. And so it's Oliver saying, are you up to this? And for Wally, he says yes. But thing is, he has no choice. He has to. But doing all of this for his uncle, Barry Allen. Now, like I said at the very beginning of this video, this storyline does take place after Identity Crisis issue number 5, where we had saw Captain Boomerang being able to kill off Jack Drake. Except before Jack Drake had died, he was able to shoot Captain Boomerang, killing him off as well. And so you have the rogues who are still bad guys actually getting word about what happened to Captain Boomerang. But they're also finding out that he had a son. Now, his son is going to replace him down the road in later comics after Identity Crisis, but we're kind of building up to that moment here in this story arc. Now, once you have Wally West being able to get back to the city, he does realize that there's a huge crowd of people surrounding cops in this one area. And he does see this puddle of some kind of substance that has a color red. So he believes it is actually blood. But once he's able to work his way through the crowd of people, but to also see what is happening, he realized that apparently some teenagers or possibly just random folks decide to go ahead and throw paint and other things at a police vehicle. Now, why you have all these different reporters trying to ask Wally West all these different questions about things happening in the city, he's then confronted by Linda Park, his wife. Now, this is actually a huge moment, and the reason why, because in our earlier videos, I had mentioned the fact that Wally West has not seen Linda Park in a good while, and the reason why, because, well, there was a moment in time where you had Wally West made the entire world forget that he was the Flash, including Linda Park, and so for a good while there, he just kind of left her there to not remember who he was. But then she found out that he was the Flash all over again, and then she just disappeared. And she tells Wally that she had to go away to get her mind clear because the whole idea of finding out all over again that your husband is the Flash was a lot for her. But it's not her saying like they're over. It's not her saying that she no longer loves him. It's her actually saying like, hey, I'm back and let's try to rebuild our relationship. And so you have Wally West use his super speed to take Linda all the way over to Paris for some good old alone time. But now we have to jump over to the different supervillains who are coming together for the funeral for Captain Boomerang, who was killed off by Jack Drake. Now, his son is actually there. Owen Mercer. Now remember, by this point in DC Comics, we don't actually know who's the mother for Owen. All we know is that This kid has the ability of Captain Boomerang, but also has super speed. But not like Barry Allen or Wally West, it's only a burst of speed here and there. And that is really it. And matter of fact, he gets very upset when he finds out that his actual father's body is not even in the coffin, that the FBI had taken the body of Captain Boomerang for unknown reasons. But with that being said, once you have Owen show off his super speed to a certain degree, you have all the different bad guys there get very upset about the fact that there's a speedster there at the funeral for Captain Boomerang. But either way, you do have the main rogue say, listen, he's okay. He is accepted here because who his father was, and we're going to take care of him. We also get a page where we do see Cheetah breaking out Zoom out of his prison at Iron Heights. Now, this is going to affect the Flash in later comics down the road. That's not really part of the Identity Crisis tie-ins, unfortunately. So if you guys want to go ahead and cover the next story arc for the Flash involving Zoom, I can actually do that. But right now, all we need to know is that Cheetah had broken him out of Iron Heights. Now, while you had Wally West away with Linda Park over in Paris, you had the different members of the Rogues actually attack the city while he was gone. And they also threw a bunch of different kinds of boomerangs to show respect to Captain Boomerang, but also say, like, we have lost a fallen brother, and that is not okay at all. Sorry, we have lost a fellow brother, not fallen brother. Either way, they're very upset about the fact that they have lost a team member. But I want to get to what I said at the very beginning of this video, the whole idea of Batman being upset with Wally West, because again, Jack Drake was killed off by Captain Boomerang. Captain Boomerang is a villain of the Flash. And so it's Batman saying like, hey, listen, it's your fault that my sidekick had lost his father. It's your fault that you were not able to handle your villains. Now, for Wally West, he snaps back really fast at Bruce, like, hey, that's not fair. Like, I'm trying my best to handle what I can in my own city, but you cannot say, like, you don't have blood on your hands. And for me personally, it's kind of Wally saying, hey, you can't talk. The Joker had taken down Batgirl. The Joker had killed off Jason Todd. He has not returned by this point yet in DC, I want to say. But it's really more of Wally saying, dude, cut me some slack here. Yes, I'm sorry that one of mine got to your sidekick's father. But at the same time, I'm one man fighting against an army of villains in my city. It's not fair that you believe that I should be able to handle every single thing in my own town when you can't even handle Gotham City. But you do have Wally tell Bruce, like, you need to talk to Tim like you did when it came to Dick when he left for the Titans. So getting into the tail end for the tie-ins for the Flash, we do pick up with Captain Cold meeting up with Owen once again, where you have Captain Cold kind of telling Owen, like, listen, here in the Rogues, we take care of our own. And so it's really him saying, like, no matter what, we're going to be here for you. Now, with that being said, you also have Owen asking Captain Cold, not Code, for a favor. And you have Captain Cold say, hey, just name it, we got you. And then as we get into the last page, we actually pick up with the FBI in Chicago, the FBI base in Chicago. Because remember, we did say earlier that Captain Boomerang's body was actually taken by the FBI. And apparently they plan on using his body as a way to bring down the rest of the Rogues. But this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later.